Okay, so we're diving into something a little different today. You know how everyone always says, follow your heart?
Yeah.
Well, you sent over this article that really got me thinking.
Uh-huh.
It basically questions whether following your heart is always such great advice.
I mean, it's everywhere, right?
So-
Like, seriously, you hear it in songs,
Oh, yeah.
movies, books.
All the time. Like it's supposed to be this universal truth.
But I think a lot of people are starting to wonder if
Yeah.
maybe there's more to it.
Like you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned you're at kind of a crossroads yourself.
Yeah, kind of.
What's making you question this follow your heart thing specifically?
Well, there's some big decisions coming up,
No. Oh.
and everyone keeps telling me, just follow your heart.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I hear you.
Like the article says,
Mhm.
our emotions aren't always the best guide, you know,
It's so true.
especially when it comes to making big choices.
Yeah, the article talks about that.
Right.
It's like our brains are kind of wired to go for what feels good right now,
In the moment.
even if it's not actually the best thing long term.
You know, there's that present bias thing
Oh, yeah, present bias.
where we just naturally prioritize what feels good now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that can really mess things up later.
I've totally been there.
Haven't we all?
Ugh, yeah.
But there's even more to it than just that, isn't there?
What do you mean?
Well, it's not just about those fleeting feelings.
Okay.
The article mentions all those cognitive biases, too.
Right.
They can really distort how we're feeling and stuff.
Yeah.
Like confirmation bias, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Where we latch onto information that backs up what we already believe.
Even if we're wrong.
Exactly.
Ugh. It's like our own brains are working against us sometimes.
In a way.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Totally.
Like, how many times have we made decisions based on gut feelings
Right.
without realizing those guts might be full of biases?
Yeah, you think you're being all intuitive.
Uh-huh, right.
But it's really just your biases calling the shots.
Yikes.
So it's like follow your heart,
Mm-hmm.
but also watch out for all the sneaky mental traps.
Exactly. And that kind of leads to the big question, doesn't it?
Oh, which is?
Short-term versus long-term thinking.
Oh, right.
Following your heart often means going for what feels amazing right now.
Instant gratification.
Exactly.
But what about the long game?
You know, the consequences that could play out way down the road.
Okay, that makes sense.
But doesn't all this talk about logic and long-term thinking
Mm-hmm.
make decision-making sound kind of cold?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, where's the passion?
Totally. If you're always overthinking and analyzing, is there even room for excitement?
I get that. I totally do.
It's like, what's the point of achieving all these logical goals
Yeah.
if you're not feeling anything along the way?
It's a valid concern. And honestly, I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
With this whole follow your heart thing.
They think it has to be one or the other.
Like all heart or all head.
Right. But that's not really what it's about.
So what is it about then?
It's more about finding a balance.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
All right.
Logic is like a framework,
Okay.
a way to channel your emotions
Interesting.
so that you can make choices that are both fulfilling and sustainable.
So it's not follow your heart and forget everything else. It's
No,
more
no.
like follow your heart.
Yeah,
But bring your brain along for the ride too.
I like that. And you know what plays a huge role in all this?
What's that?
Self-awareness.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Being able to really recognize what you're feeling and why you're feeling it
And then using that information.
and make smarter decisions.
Not letting your emotions just completely run the show.
Right. So, like the article says, logic can help you weigh pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
assess risks and rewards, all that good stuff,
But how do you actually bring your emotions into that process?
without letting them take over
Sure.
completely, right?
No, great.
Well, there are a few techniques you can try.
Okay, I'm listening.
One that I find really helpful is
Yeah.
adding an emotional twist to your classic pros and cons list.
Oh, interesting. How does that work?
So, you know how you usually write down the potential outcomes of a decision?
Yeah, like if I do this, then this might happen.
Exactly.
Or if I do that, this other thing might happen.
Right. Well, with this twist,
Yeah.
you not only list those outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
but you also think about how each outcome would make you feel.
Okay.
And you actually write those feelings down next to each outcome.
Interesting.
And then you go a step further
Okay.
and you rate the intensity of those feelings, like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, I see. So,
So, for example,
yeah.
let's say you're considering a job offer.
Mm-hmm.
One potential outcome might be,
Getting more money,
right,
but having to work longer hours.
exactly.
So you'd write that down.
Yeah,
Outcome, more money, but longer hours.
right.
And then next to that, You'd write,
how that would make you feel.
yeah, maybe you'd write feelings. Excited about the money, but stressed about the long hours.
Yeah.
And then you'd rate the intensity of each feeling.
Like excited, 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
Stressed,
so-
6 out of 10 or something. Exactly. That's actually really cool.
It helps you see the full picture,
Right. Not just the logical stuff.
but the emotional side of things too.
It's like a more well-rounded way to make decisions.
And it can be really helpful when you're trying to decide between two good options.
Oh, yeah. When it's not like a clear right or wrong answer,
exactly.
that's when it gets tough.
And that's where this emotional awareness piece can really come in handy. So after all this,
What's the big takeaway for our listeners?
it's not about ignoring your feelings.
Right.
It's about understanding them
Using them as valuable information
alongside logic and reason.
to make choices that are truly aligned with who you are and what you want.
I love that.
And you know what else is cool about this approach?
What?
It's not just for those huge life decisions. You can use it for everyday choices too,
Oh, interesting.
like what to eat for dinner or
Okay.
what to watch on TV.
Really?
Sure, why not?
I guess it's like a practice. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Exactly.
So after this deep dive,
Yeah.
what stands out to you the most?
Good question.
Has your perspective on this whole follow your heart thing shifted at all?
Definitely it has.
How so?
I think for me, the biggest thing is
Yeah.
realizing that it's really about finding that balance.
Between heart and head?
Exactly.
Not an either-or situation.
It's about making them work together.
I wonder,
Yeah.
could there ever be situations
Mm-hmm.
where ignoring your heart is actually the most courageous choice?
That's an interesting thought.
Something to ponder.